Landon is playing Mark of the Ninja.
Yeah, dude.
Sweet game.
If you haven't played it, go play it now. I think it's on sale on GameStop. Might be $10.
$10 for Mark of the Ninja, which is a sweet game. What's this game about?
Well, in this game you're a ninja and you get marks on you. Literally, like that is actually. It's like modern times ninjas. So there's like some paramilitary force. They got guns. They want to shoot you. They attack your ninja camp, and you have to get revenge. But you use your ninja tactics. You only use swords and ninja like darts, and you kill them all, or not kill them all. I think you can beat this whole game without killing anybody. I believe, except for like boss fights. So I guess kind of like Deus Ex.
Oh yeah, like Deus Ex. By the way, the guy who does the voice of the main guy in Deus Ex commented on our Splinter Cell video, because he also does the voice of Coben in Splinter Cell. And he thought our video was awesome, and then he tweeted at us, and he said that I should be the voice of Coben when he's dead. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. So anyone, please don't kill him or anything, but
don't kill him. But
but if you did,
I would really like to be the voice of Coben. So, anyways, how are you guys doing? We're doing pretty good, I guess. Been real busy last week or two with different types of videos. Kind of go in cycles, it appears. Like, get really stoked. I mean, obviously we're always working on the main channel stuff, but you know, then I'll get really stoked about the gaming channel for a while, then I got really stoked on the rock channel for a while, and I'll get really stoked on the daily channel for a while. So you kind of like see cycles where it's like you get a lot of videos on the gaming channel, you get a lot of videos on the rock channel, but the others kind of, you know. Anyways, so 2 new rock videos last week. Just put up a new video on the gaming channel today. It's a top 10 list of all-time favorite bad games. So games that are really bad that you actually really like to play.
And not surprisingly, they're mostly from childhood.
Mostly from childhood because, you know, back then, I mean, at least for us, like, when we were kids, you know, we didn't have the internet, so you don't get to go onto, like, review sites and, like, find out if a game is good or not. Yeah. You also can't tell your parents whether or not a game is good because they don't know the freaking difference. So they go buy you a game for Christmas for your birthday. They're just gonna like wing it for the most part, unless there's something you've really, really been talking about a lot that they happen to listen to and care about. Yeah. That was mostly the problem, is that our parents didn't like that we played video games, so they wouldn't listen to all the stuff we'd say when we talk about them. They wouldn't hear something like, "Oh my gosh, you know, Prince of Persia looks so sweet. It looks so awesome. Please go buy that." You know, they would just like, "Oh, Christmas shopping's come up." They go to the game store, like probably ask the guy at the desk, like, "What game should I get for my kid that isn't super violent?" And of course, there's no good games in existence that are super violent. So,
I remember specifically some games. Oh crap! Okay, hold on a second. Let's see if I can do this. This guy just noticed a body. I'm gonna kill him.
Dude, that cheating.
Okay, I killed him. I think that's set off an alarm or something. Anyways, I remember Quest 64. That's one of the games that's on the list. And I remember, like, me and my brothers, we played Mario RPG, and from that game, we decided we loved RPGs, right? So we had the N64, and there were like, if anyone of you had the N64, you know what I'm talking about. There were no RPGs. And even by the end of the console's life, there were maybe like 2, maybe 3. There was one was like Tactics Ogre.
Yeah, Tactics Ogre is like 64. The only one I can think of.
Yeah, and then anyways, Quest, we wanted it so bad that I remember we cleaned like the whole house while our parents were gone. We went like way out of our way to just like clean up all the stuff and ask if they would take us to the store and get this game. And I think we were like, we'll pay for half of it, but we cleaned the kitchen, and we cleaned this front room, and we like put all this stuff away. We did like the chores on the lawn as like a surprise. And I don't know if we got it then, but I think later for one of our birthdays we got it. And that game's a piece of crap. That was our fault. That was totally our fault. We thought all RPGs were good. Little did we know.
And the other thing too is that, like, for the most part, I think most of the bad games I have played have been on the Nintendo 64 or the PlayStation, like in that era. Like games were really awkwardly transitioning into like 3D. And I think most of the developers, by the time, you know, the Super Nintendo, that life cycle came to an end, they had a pretty good idea like how to develop games in 2D at that point. But then like when they jumped to 3D, it was like entirely new software they're developing on, like all this crazy stuff they'd never done before. And so a lot of those games just really suck. And even the games that were really good, that were like really successful, like freaking GoldenEye, are garbage if you go back and play them now. Like they're like impossible to control and impossible to play. So anyway,
there's very few games that hold up. I think the Zelda games hold up really.
The Zelda games are still freaking perfect, and you know, for the most part, Mario is always really, really good. There are a few exceptions here and there. RPGs usually hold up pretty well because they're mostly menu based.
Yeah, that's true.
So if all you have to do is cycle through menus, then you're fine.
But honestly, I think that like from the transition into 3D, that like developers, all things they learned to do right, they had to like relearn everything, like go back to the basics. And so like there's a lot of Super Nintendo games that hold up really, really well still, because people still make games with that same sort of aesthetic, but nobody makes games that look like Quest 64 or
nope.
I mean Mario 64 still looks okay, but nobody makes games that look like that on purpose anymore. Nobody does.
Yep.
Like the first Crash Bandicoot, nobody wants their game to look like that now. They're like, you know what would be sick is if it looked like those piece of crap low polygon games when people didn't know what they were doing.
Yep.
But there are a lot of people like, you know, it'd be sick if this game looked like Secret of Mana.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, like Secret of Mana and Chrono Trigger and like all of those really awesome looking Super Nintendo games, like they still look really cool. Like despite the fact that they're in 2D, they still look freaking awesome. Like the level of art was like high enough to match basically like the story they were telling, even though it was in 2D. But you know, Quest 64 and even to a large extent most of the Final Fantasy games that were on, you know, the PlayStation. Final Fantasy 9 looked better, but they just looked so distractingly bad that's like you go back and play them, it's hard to really like focus on.
Well, it's funny because you still had to use your imagination a little bit with those games.
Yeah,
you're like, okay, I can, but you know, in some games you actually knew less detail about a character than you might have been. Like Final Fantasy, at least when you get in Final Fantasy 7, the battle sequences, at least you know really what people look like. But in service with the low resolution and everything, you're in like overworld and then walk through town stuff.
It's fetched up.
It's pretty disgusting. Make me sick.
Maybe some of you are curious about what we feel about a remake of Final Fantasy VII, whether that should be done. I think it should. However, I would be kind of disappointed because here's all they have to do. Literally all they have to do. They don't have to like go through and do voice work for the whole game. Because I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of at least the English voice track of what was the film?
Advent Children?
Advent Children. I didn't like the English track. I like watching that movie in Japanese. So I don't trust that they can do an extremely good job if they were to get like an entire cast to voice the whole game. However, what I'm trying to say is like the only thing they have to do is do an HD version basically, but leave it all the same otherwise. If you really feel like it, you could do, you know, an orchestrated soundtrack, but leave the rest of it the same. Just don't even touch it. Just make it look better, because that's all it really needs. But as far as like a full-fledged, like complete remake where they, redo everything, I just think that'd be a waste of resources, and it would leave a lot of people disappointed because they'd probably change a lot of stuff. See, even games like this are freaking sick as long as they're in HD and they look sweet. Yeah. But it's still 2D, but it looks awesome. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like totally like redone. Anyways, Those are our musings on games.
Yep.
And
Maybe someday we'll make a game.
that'd be cool if we made a game someday.
WarialaskyDaily the game.
Nothing really else going on
Oh, yes!
that we can talk about, at least. A lot of cool stuff going on we can't talk about
It's
yet.
true.
We'll
Or collabs.
hopefully be able to talk about it soon. Anyways, peace, guys.
See you.